Welcome to The Growth Equation. This isn't your typical business podcast. We're keeping it real about the challenges of scaling up, period. I'm Tristan Wright and I've been there. I've built and scaled my own business. I've sold it. I've learned a ton along the way. Now I'm bringing you the no BS stories of founders who are in the trenches right now, navigating that messy middle. We're talking advertising, marketing, design, creative, branding, the whole 9 yards. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur or running a team of 100. Everyone's got a secret sauce, that thing that makes them different, better. We're going to uncover it. So grab a coffee and let's get real. Welcome to The Growth Equation, navigating the messy middle of marketing, branding, and growth-related agencies. The Growth Equation dives into the real challenges and triumphs of scaling your business, featuring candid conversations with founders who are navigating the messy middle. Today, we're talking to Quentin Weber. Quentin, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, mate. We'd love to hear a tiny bit more about you. You're over in New Zealand at the moment, or your business is in New Zealand. Love to hear about who you are in your business.
Yeah, so I'm the, founder of Unbound, founder and CEO of Unbound. We're based in Hamilton, New Zealand, which I guess for some of you over other parts of the world is about an hour and a half south of Auckland. And we're primarily an online ads agency, so we focus on Google ads, Facebook ads. If it's digital advertising, we're doing it. A little bit of SEO and analytics. And I guess we're also a Google Premier Partner in Australia and New Zealand, so one of the top 3% of agencies across Australia and New Zealand.
Awesome. And how long have you been running this business? What are tell me a bit about the journey.
Yeah, so Unbound is turning 10 next year. So we started in 2015, and I had a previous agency to that. It was probably more of a full service agency, which we did kind of websites and social media management. That was with a business partner. And in 2015, we kind of parted ways. He actually moved out of Hamilton back down south, and that's when I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm gonna start Unbound. And at the time, it was just me. So I had a whole bunch of clients, running Google Ads campaigns, doing a bit of SEO. And I guess at some point, a couple of years into that, I was like, well, I really want to make a go of this. So I want to grow. And in the first probably, I think 2017, I hired my first employee. And then 3 months later, I hired my second employee. And then I've probably been adding a couple of people every year, apart from maybe a couple of years where things were a bit slower, like over COVID. So yeah.
Awesome. And what's your head count at the moment?
We're sitting at 9.
And then you probably have a few contractors come in and out.
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of what we do is we don't do any kind of website development or social media management. So if people are looking at those sorts of services, we're typically pointing them to one of our partners. We do have the odd contractor doing the odd thing, but generally it's the people within the business that is doing the work. And I guess that does help keep that quality consistent. We are quite heavily focused on delivering a quality product to our clients.
Awesome. Way back when you had your previous business and you moved into Unbound, was the split amicable or was it because
it was. So I don't kind of want to get too much into the details, but my former business partner was, I guess, going through some sort of stuff in his personal life, and that obviously puts pressure on the business life. And I guess he made the decision to move back down to Christchurch, be close to family, that sort of thing. And we sort of had that conversation about what we want to do with the business. And so how it kind of worked with us, he was mainly doing kind of the website development side of things, and I was kind of doing the marketing side of things. He was also doing a bit of content production, social media stuff. And so when I went, okay, well, I want to go out on my own. I basically took kind of all the marketing stuff with me. So, we were doing SEO, running ads, and he kind of took the website hosting, website stuff with him. So, and he still got a lot of the website hosting. Like he still does that as kind of a sideline business to his main business. But yeah, so it was amicable. Like we still talk. I spoke with him I think last week.
Yeah.
So it's fine. We're still good mates. Just obviously different paths, different journey.
Yeah. So many business partners, when the split, it doesn't end up being amicable. So yeah, you're lucky in that sense. And when we're setting up businesses, we often don't consider the impacts of what the business can have on our personal life, and the impacts of our personal life on the business, especially when
Yeah.
the business is so small. Everything that happens on one side impacts the other.
And it's even just with like employees and stuff, they've obviously got things happening in their life, and
Mhm.
it's kind of sometimes hard to like leave them at the door. And so we try and like with the employees at Unbound, with the team at Unbound, like if people are going through something, it's like trying to support them in whatever they're doing. And we've had instances where we've contracted like an HR company that does kind of employment psychology, just so they can have a like a third party to kind of talk to about some of the stuff and try and work their way through those issues, which I think has helped people in the past to with that work-life balance, I guess.
Yeah, like larger agencies, we don't want this to happen, but like you can get away with an underperforming staff member for a period of time. But you've got with businesses this size, you can't get away with underperforming staff members because you're going to start losing money. So you have to focus on the culture and mental health and of everyone within the business.
Yeah, and that's probably been one of the toughest things this year. Is it's been, I guess, a tough year for everyone. And we're dealing with like obviously a lot of clients across some industries that have been through a lot with the current economic conditions. I don't know how you're sort of finding it in Australia, but it has been sort of fairly tough, kind of in New Zealand, bit of a downturn. And, that does put pressure on, our clients, businesses, in terms of getting leads and sales. And obviously they're then putting pressure on us to get that, which means that, like a lot of the team, I guess, take things quite sort of personally. We're quite invested in our clients' kind of future, and we want to see them succeed. And so when there's kind of that tension, it can be quite, I guess, quite difficult.
Yeah.
And there have been some clients leave this year. The grass looks greener over the other side, another agency, or potentially the other agencies like oh, we can do a better job. And maybe they can, maybe they can't, maybe it's just the current economic conditions, and we're striving to do the best job that we can do, but we're limited by the current economic climate.
Yeah, and people, when people are feeling a bit more pain, whether it's right or wrong, their decision making processes change. So and they need more evidence to support the actual outcome. Like they're less likely to make a decision based off trust. They need that evidence as well.
Yeah, and I guess it's for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, like business is personal. Like
Mm,
at the end of the day, it's their money that they're investing, and if things are getting hard, they're trying to support their team. They need to pay their team, and they've obviously got their own expenses and stuff to pay. And so potentially, if the marketing is not delivering, what they wanted, then that is obviously that tension there. And I
yeah.
mean, I know I can like hand on heart say that we work bloody hard for our clients to get them the results, and we're trying often, like they don't sort of see everything that we're doing to try and, the work we're putting in to try and get them the results for their business. And it kind of comes down to like, it's personal for us too. Like, you know, a lot of our clients have been with us for, you know, for years. Like my longest client that I've been working with has been with me for long before I started Unbound. They've probably been
Oh,
with me
wow.
for like 14, sort of 14 years, 13 years, something like that.
So you've been running businesses since you're about 15 then?
No, no, no. I'm old. I'm old. You know, I've been doing this a while. So yeah, I mean, I started doing marketing consulting. Well, I worked at the radio network, which was basically doing radio advertising. And then after I left that job, I wanted, you know, really interested in marketing and advertising, and so I started doing some marketing consulting before my the first agency I had, and you know that was kind of again where this client came about. We kind of came in doing some consulting, helping them with their SEO, their ads, and then they've just kind of stayed with me through thick and thin
That's
over
awesome.
that time. But yeah, I mean, we've got, I think our average tenure for a client's about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So most clients kind of stick around for, you know, for quite a while with us. You know, again, you form those relationships. You kind of become that trusted advisor to those businesses. You know, even though we're kind of running their kind of online ads or doing SEO or whatever it might be, they kind of
You
turn
ask
to you for,
questions about other things as well.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
and you can't sort of help but sort of help them out in those other bits of their business. You know,
Yeah.
because you want to see them again. You want to see them succeed. You know, that's kind of the whole purpose. You know,
Why are
we're
you
all
doing
about helping clients and seeing them succeed. You know, that's kind of
it?
why we're in it, isn't it? You know.
Exactly. Question for you. What's the biggest misconception people have about scaling or growing a business?
Oh, that it's easy. I don't know if that's a misconception. Um, yeah, I guess you kind of get to like plateaus probably. Like you kind of get to like I guess your systems run out, or you need to reinvent your systems, or your things like, you know, your potentially your pricing model. So I guess as you sort of add more people to your team, like when it's one, you know, it's like, well, I just need to say, well, half my time's, you know, getting the business and doing the admin, the other half of the time's doing the work, so I can, you know, basically make X amount of money, you know, per month. When it
Mm.
becomes, you know, two people or three, I mean, the biggest thing going from one to two is probably the hardest thing you'd ever do. I'd say go from one to three. And I know, I think you might, that sounds stupid. Don't do that. But like, by the time you kind of have to look after one person, you might as well look after two people. And then you're giving yourself far more capacity to actually deliver the work. And so that's why I hired effectively an account manager. And then I just focused on kind of back office. And then the next person I hired was a campaign manager. And then I basically dumped all the campaign work onto him. And then I got back out selling again. So, and then that was how we scaled to three. But I think you kind of get to those kind of pivot points in the business where you need to go, I need to change my systems, or I need to change my pricing. The pricing's a funny one because the more kind of back office, the more unbillable hours you do, your pricing kind of has to change. And
Yes.
so, and that's kind of where you sort of see yourself, like you get to about, you know, probably kind of 10 to 12 people probably. And you kind of have to like change that kind of model a little bit, because you sort of say, oh, we need more people to be managing people. So they're going to have time in their day that they're having to, you know, look after teams. And so
So
that's
for
kind
me,
of,
that number is 14. So
yeah,
you go to 14. Once you're at 14, you need to get to 23 as quickly as possible.
yeah,
So the valley of death, it almost is a headcount of 14 to 23. Like that's
yeah,
the hardest area. If you've got that many people in the business, it's
yeah.
extremely hard to maintain profitability.
And so we're kind of sitting and we're kind of knocking on that door. And that's kind of like, again, what we're finding is that we need to kind of go, the next kind of push and growth is going from, I guess, you know, that 12 to kind of 20, 23, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of our 3-year kind of goal is to get to about, you know, 25
Yeah.
people. And that's kind of where we can see the you know, because you start going like, right, your reports down into the business are, you've got, you know, heads of department which can actually manage the team effectively. Because at the
Mm.
moment, if you've kind of got, heads of department, they're also having to do the work because there's not enough,
Delivery.
not
Yep.
enough billable hours to just have someone managing a team. And
Yeah.
I guess that's probably that sort of struggle and growth is like having systems that allow you to grow and having that awareness of like, you might need to change systems when you change size, when you actually grow, like how you did things at 3 probably is not going to work at 10.
And,
And
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 that's
and,
not going to
and
work at 17.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not going to work at 7, it's not going to work at 50, it's not going to, so you need to kind of be thinking about that. And also I guess those pivot points in terms of like how that structure in the business looks and how that management or that reporting structure throughout the business might look. And I mean, before we jumped on the call today, we were talking about CRMs and project management tools, and that's again part of that whole system thing is like
Exactly.
getting in early, like locking in, like, right, this tool is going to work effectively for running my business and allowing me to track time. Like, even if you're I was talking to a guy that started up an agency a few weeks ago, and I said to him, do you track time? And he goes, no, it's just me, why do I need to track time? And I'm like, how do you know which clients are the most efficient clients? How do you know
Yeah.
you're not sort of charging everyone the same? You've got 5 clients, you're charging them all the same thing, but you're spending 90% of your time on one client.
Yeah.
Like, it's
How
so
how
important
do
for
you,
agencies to track their time, at whether it's 1 or whether it's 100. Track your time.
how do your team feel about it? Like I say you have to track time. It's not to keep tabs on the team. It's to measure profitability, make sure you're not over servicing or under servicing clients. How do you sell that to your team?
It's hard. I guess we're not kind of like trying to make it's Big Brother's always watching. It is the case of like, we want to know what clients we are potentially over servicing, under servicing. We want to know what our average billable rate is across you know the team, across even individual people in the team. It's like, if we can kind of say, oh, well, the average billable rate of that team member is X and that one's Y, do we need to kind of look at helping them rebalance their clients? Looking at clients, are there some clients that we are over servicing? Do we need to look at how we're pricing those clients, what kind of service we're offering them? Are those clients just bad for the business? Are they just demanding, and then we need to break up with them? It's like
Mm,
relationships. It's like sometimes you're in a bad relationship, and it's
yeah,
probably a good point to like identify. You're in a bad relationship, and then you need to end that relationship. So
yeah, you need that data to be able to make that decision.
yeah, and that's the thing. It is that kind of data where you can sort of go into your system, your tool. Look at your clients, look at your staff, look at your team. Have that target billable rate, and say, hey, we want to achieve X target billable rate. Are we achieving that? No. Where are we falling short? Which clients, which people on the team might be kind of behind that number? So, and then you can obviously create a plan and work towards improving that. So that might be putting up your prices. Like, that's probably the fastest way to encourage billable rate.
Yep,
Because you've got your clients, just put your prices up by 10%. There you go, get 10% more for doing the same amount of work.
that's it. A couple of minutes ago, you mentioned pivotal moments within the business. What pivotal moment in your growth journey were you stuck and you didn't? It took a while to progress and move through.
I think I think we've felt a bit stuck. I guess we've sort of been fairly good at growing over the past, sort of, what's it been, 6 years up until that point. And this year we kind of seem to have just stopped. And I think that, again, it's going back to like probably the way we're structuring the team, or the way that we've got, probably also the economy. Like this year's been pretty rough on a number of businesses, and so that probably hasn't helped. Where maybe things have been flowing quite smoothly in terms of getting new clients, they're sticking around a lot longer, and therefore you're able to just keep keep growing. We can get another person because we need the capacity, etc. But this year's obviously been a bit of a struggle. A lot of our team quite a few of our team have kind of moved on to other opportunities, which means we're having to, get new people on board. And that's obviously another thing, you need to kind of train them up, upskill them.
Stabilizing the business.
A little bit, yeah. But I guess as much as you have people, moving on to other opportunities. Like we had one of our team, she was with us for 5 years, and she was offered a pretty exciting role to set up a department, at another agency, and it's a fantastic opportunity. And it's one of those things, I guess, if you're a small agency, you can't always give all the opportunities. Like if you're at a bigger agency, 50, 60 people or something, you might have it where that person can move to another department, or they can learn a new skill, or maybe there's more management opportunities. But at a small agency, it is harder to offer people those roles, and we kind of want to offer those people those roles, but it's only going to be dependent on how quickly we can kind of grow the agency to make those opportunities present. So so we had her move on, and we've had another couple of people, again, other exciting opportunities present themselves, and they've kind of moved on. And so it's kind of been a case of people moving out of the business. But on the flip side, we've had some really amazing people come and join the agency, which is kind of really exciting, because you get kind of a new influx of kind of ideas and kind of excitement, and and they're bringing in a lot of experience to our clients that they can share. And I guess when they're looking at Unbound as an agency, they're kind of hearing great things about what we're doing. So that's about building a good brand in the market. People want to kind of join the team because they know you're doing really cool stuff, and you're kind of a leader in the industry, and they want to be part of that. So as much as there's a few people have left, we've got some really great people come and join the business as well.
Awesome. When you're hiring, do you treat hiring as a chore or something that's enjoyable?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. It's definitely when you're busy, it's when there's a lot going on, and especially if I'm doing it, I've got a million different hats, and it can be a lot of work. And so, but it's also enjoyable because you are sort of finding, some really amazing people. And I guess in the last couple that we've got on board, the last campaign manager we hired, I only interviewed 2 people, and I probably knew after the second one who ended up getting the job, that he was the one. I'd actually known him before, and so when he applied, I'm like, oh, I know this guy already, so I know he's good. I want him on the team. And so it was a pretty easy decision to make when he kind of applied. So yeah. And I think it's about kind of being open. I'm always sort of having conversations with people out in the industry, and I can't always kind of offer roles to everyone that kind of comes. And I guess that's the thing, is if we're kind of growing faster, we probably can be getting those people through that are kind of changing at the time, and then that you can say, hey, I've actually got an opportunity in a month's time or 2 months time. I'd love to have you on board then, and they can kind of know they've got something to move into.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm talking a lot about AI at the moment, and I'm of the opinion if you haven't started putting AI into your processes for your delivery of your work, your agency is going to go the way of the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Some people may agree with this, some people won't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it's an efficiency thing. If you've got an agency and you're, doing work for a client, and you can do things more efficiently, then that's going to help. Again, we talked about average billable rate. If you can do the same sort of thing in half the time, So if we kind of use some examples, like if we're looking at data analysis, like I can get a whole bunch of data and put that into an AI tool, and then query that data to get sort of some insight, and then relay that back to the client. I mean, I could do that manually without AI. I can look at
That might take you 3 hours.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, that's the time saving, where I can sort of upload, basically a whole bunch of stuff into like Notebook LM or Gemini, and sort of say, hey, here's all this data. I want to know what the most efficient campaigns are, or the most efficient ads are, or what sort of segments are working for this client, to get the most conversions, or whatever that might be. And yeah, like I probably would have done that like 2 years ago. I would have gone into analytics, and I would have scrolled through the data, and I would have changed the tabs, and I would have toggled this and toggled that to try and get the information. But now I just like upload it and just ask the AI, and it's just so efficient at doing that. So data analysis, one good one. Content writing is another great one.
So many people are scared of using it for content writing. That it's rubbish in, rubbish out, is my opinion.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation yesterday. I kind of jump in on a mastermind session with a business coach every couple of weeks, and we got talking about like what's the trends for next year. And I was saying like AI is going to continue to kind of evolve and grow and all the rest of it. But it is that it's like, if you're a business, or you've got clients you're working for, it's about developing, custom GPTs or gems, or whatever platform you're using, training that model so that you can output something that sounds like the client. And so there's kind of a 2-level thing. Build the custom GPT, or build the custom gem with data that's going to be relevant to that customer. So uploading documents and whatever it might be. And then the second part of that is offering really good prompts to that custom GPT, because even though you've uploaded all that data, you still need to like prompt it to get a good result. So I mean, we can deliver sort of pretty 80-90% of the way there with client work, or our work. Like I use a lot of the work, custom GPTs or gems to write content that we're doing. And I mean, I don't think you'd be able to pick that it's written by AI. But it's getting it to kind of 80%, and then adding that kind of human touch.
I think we can go, like, talking content can go a level further than that. Building the GPTs or gems, agents, but setting up a workflow so those agents are talking to one another. So you have a knowledge-based one, you have a tone of voice one, you have a article framework one, you have a proofreader one, and you have an editor. So, and having a workflow so they're all talking to one another, and by doing that, you take it from 80% to about 95%.
Yeah, and I've got another guy, another agency I know. He's been working a lot with that, doing those agents and building in kind of automations and the like. So yeah, it's going to be the way forward.
So putting it this way, you can get it a 2,000 word article. Let's say 2,000 word article and 15 social media posts and scripts. Using that as an example, for most businesses, that'd be at least a day's work of writing and editing at a minimum. You can, with AI and having the agents talking to one another, including editing, under an hour.
Yeah, because I guess for you, how long do you think it takes you to write a good prompt? That's probably a good question for the audience to know.
Me personally, I've got templates for them now. Like, you do so much research. Like, you've got to do research and actually look at the look at what Claude is saying, look at what Perplexity is saying, how to write their prompts, reference this information from here, write it like this, use bullet points, give it the correct instructions. Don't just say write a 500-word social media article. You've got to say you need this. The article needs this framework. Hook at the start. Blah blah blah. You utilize this framework. Reference this agent. Reference this knowledge base. Ensure that you only have 3 sources, or at least 3 factual sources. So imagine you were giving a brief to a writer for the first time, and they've never written for you before. They need to know the writing style. So it needs to be the same level of detail that you would give a best practice brief to a first-time writer for the business.
Yeah. And so if you're kind of sitting down with a writer for the first time, that's a 45-minute meeting, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
So isn't that how long you should be taking to write your prompt?
Yep. Exactly. But you only have to do it once, and because you can then template it.
Yeah. And I guess that's the thing with like custom GPTs, like spend the time, writing that custom GPT, because then again you can go back to that custom GPT, and then you've got that framework in place to get more content out. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're only kind of getting to the tip of the iceberg. I mean, our designer is obviously using AI in design work, how we can sort of like scale creatives for our clients. So yeah, it's only going to evolve down the road. Like, so it's going to be pretty exciting. Like, it's only been kind of 2 years.
Yeah.
Like I remember looking at what's it called? It was one of the early ones, like Open. I can't remember what it was called. But it was an AI one that was a copy AI, I think it was.
Yes. I know.
Super early.
Jasper was one of the first ones.
Yeah. And just like back in end of I think 2022, like using AI to write articles on Copy AI to see how it was doing and how much has evolved since then.
Totally.
Yeah.
How do you maintain a balance between your business growth and your personal well-being?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I try being the operative word, to get exercise in, so I've sort of done a bit of powerlifting. That's kind of my hobby. Over, like I did it before COVID. I'd always go to the gym. Over COVID, I got a home gym just like everyone else. So I got a full gym at home. So I try and, sort of 3 or 4 days a week, get on the weights, and then the rest of the time kind of, Netflix and, catch up on the latest episode of Yellowstone. That sort of thing. But yeah, it's hard for me. Like, that's obviously one of the hard things being an agency owner, is switching off. And my wife sort of says that it's, stop looking at emails on the weekend, and stop doing work on the weekend.
One of those people.
I'm terrible for it. Yeah, terrible for it. So yeah, it is hard to switch off. Like, I am pretty much locked into thinking about clients, 24/7, and trying to get them results. So I wish I could charge them for all the time that I actually think about them. Like,
So this one might hit deep. Who's more important, family or clients?
Oh, family. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have any kids, so it's me, my wife, and my cat.
Who's more important, you, your wife, and your cat, or your clients?
Always my wife.
So on the weekends, when it's time for your wife, she probably is like, why is he treating the clients as more important?
Nah, I mean, if she said to me, "Don't work," I wouldn't work.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, we've got to be careful with our weekends and managing our time. So, because we often get so engaged with looking after our clients we take what we've got around us for granted.
Yeah, I mean, you do need to. I mean, I do understand. I mean, it's definitely that need for switching off. I mean, and I'm looking forward to the Christmas break because it is the time for 3 weeks I can switch off. I can sort of say, most of the clients are on holiday. I don't need to kind of like everything will be kind of scheduled for that those 2 weeks. I can actually just turn off. So it's a glorious time, in the life of an agency owner. Those 3 weeks over Christmas. Because if I take time off in the middle of the year, I'm still kind of like wondering like, how are things going at the agency? Have they got everything under control? Do they need a hand with anything? But yeah. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to kind of just switching off and kind of recharging a bit. Going on some road trips and seeing some sights.
Yeah. If you were to leave our listeners with one actionable insight out of everything we've discussed today, or even if we haven't, what would that one piece of insight be?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to know your metrics. So we did talk a lot about like tracking time and average billable rate. And, I think that's to grow your agency, you need to know your numbers. And if you kind of don't know what those numbers are and what those numbers should be to kind of grow, you sort of need to get stuck into it. So if you're not tracking your time, track your time. If you're not understanding what your, gross profit should be or your net profit should be, what those ratios need to be, then kind of get into that. That's probably the thing that's going to help the most in any agency.
Yeah, totally. Thank you very much for your time, mate. And make sure you have a great Christmas.
Yeah, thanks for your time. It'd be great to. I don't know if I'm going to have a listen to it, but it would be great to get it out to some other agencies and hopefully they'll take some good advice from it.
Yeah, hopefully they do. Cheers, man.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning into The Growth Equation. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button and leave a review. It helps us big time. Catch you next time. And if you want more, head over to evolvetogrow.com.au for show notes and exclusive content. And if you want more, head over to evolvetogrow.com.au for show notes and exclusive content.